All right, everyone stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. All right, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Call the meeting to order at 6 p.m. And can I get a roll call, please?
Michael Cashman.
Present.
Thomas Wood.
I'm here.
Meg LaFave. Here. Barbara Beaver. Here. Charles Costick.
Here.
Ricky Collins.
Here.
Amy Menard. Here. James Coffey. Absent.
All right. Resolution 139, approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
Resolved that the minutes of April 26th and May 3rd, 2018 be approved and the reading of the minutes be dispensed with.
Is there a motion? Wood, is there a second?
Second.
Costick, is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor please say aye.
Aye.
So does pass. Is there anything for public comment this evening? Seeing anything for public comment? If you need signatures from anybody from the board at the end, I'm assuming your students, come and see us at the end of the meeting, okay?
Welcome. You sure you don't want to speak publicly?
Sure. Last chance.
All right. Resolution 140, the abstract 5B-18.
Resolved that the abstract of audited claims number 5B18 for $998,168.41. Abstract 5B18 prepays for the amount of $235,585.91 be received as reviewed by the audit committee and the supervisor is hereby authorized to pay said abstracts.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Hebert, is there a second?
Second.
LaFave, any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
So does carry. Resolution 141, monthly department reports.
Resolved to receive and place on file monthly department head reports. For the month of April, Building and Grounds, Highway Superintendent, Parks and Recreation, Water, Wastewater, Codes and Zoning, Planning, Supervisor's Financial Report, and the Town Clerk.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Costick, is there a second?
Second.
LaFave, is there any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
So does carry. Resolution 142, junkyard license renewal for 24 Flanagan Drive.
Whereas the Town Clerk has received an application and fees for a license to operate a junkyard business at 24 Flanagan Drive. And
Is the-
whereas...
Sorry, go ahead.
And whereas Steve Einhoff, Code Enforcement Officer, has completed inspection of the junkyard and the applicant is in compliance, now therefore be it resolved that the Town of Plattsburgh Town Board does hereby receive and place on file said application and authorize the Town Clerk to issue a junkyard license to the aforementioned applicant in compliance with the letter issued by Steve Einhoff, Code Enforcement Officer, the Town of Plattsburgh. And be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be given to the Finance Manager, Town Clerk, and the Codes Department.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved.
LaFave, is there a second?
Seconded.
Hebert, any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
So does carry. Resolution 143, bond resolution dated May 17, 2018, authorizing the issuance of $1,433,000 aggregate principal amount serials bonds of the Town of Plattsburgh, New York, pursuant to the local finance law to finance the cost of the improvements and/or the cost to reconstruct the existing facilities and apertures to the benefit of the base sewer district in the Town of Plattsburgh, Clinton County, New York. And I will just add that these resolutions have been prepared by council, okay? So we're going to have this one read, and afterwards I would entertain if someone wants to waive the reading, but I'll give the header as they're equal in kind to the same resolution.
Whereas the Town Board of the Town of Plattsburgh called a public hearing by resolution on January 18, 2018, pursuant to the provisions of Section 202B of the Town Law, and such hearing was duly noticed and duly held. And whereas on March 1, 2018, the Town Board held such public hearing as required by law, and on the date hereof made findings and determinations, and now desires to authorize the financing of the cost of the improvements and/or the cost to reconstruct existing facilities and appurtenances for the benefit of the base sewer district in and for the Town of Plattsburgh through the issuance of obligations of the town to provide such funds for improvement at a total cost not to exceed $1,433,000, including preliminary costs, all in accordance with the local finance law. Now therefore be it resolved by the Town Board of the Town of Plattsburgh as follows. Section 1, there is hereby authorized to be issued serial bonds of the town in the aggregate principal amount of up to $1,433,000 pursuant to the local finance law, in order to finance the cost of the improvements and/or the cost to reconstruct existing facilities and appurtenances for the benefit of the base sewer district in and for said town, including the acquisition of equipment, machinery, apparatus, land, and rights in land necessary therefor, including preliminary costs. Section 2, the Town Board of the town has ascertained and hereby states that A, the estimated maximum costs of the project are not to exceed $1,433,000. B, no money has hereto been authorized to be applied to the payment of the costs of the project. C, the Town Board of the town plans to finance the costs of the project from $1,433,000 proceeds of the serial bonds or bond anticipation notes authorized herein, except to the extent of the receipt by the town of federal, state, or local government funds or grants and aid, which amounts received will reduce the amount of serial bonds authorized herein pro tanto, and D, the maturity of the obligations authorized herein will be in excess of 5 years. Section 4. It is hereby determined that the project referred to in Section 2 hereof is a specific object or purpose described in Subdivision 4 of Paragraph A of Section 11 of the local finance law, and that the period of probable usefulness of such project is 30 years. The serial bonds in the principal amount of up to $1,433,000 authorized herein shall have a maximum maturity of 30 years computed from the earlier of the date of the first issue of such serial bonds, or B, the date of the first bond anticipation notes issued in anticipation of the issuance of such serial bonds. Section 5. Subject to the terms and conditions of this bond resolution and the local finance law, and pursuant to the provisions of Sections 21, 30, 50, 56, and 60, inclusive of the local finance law, the power to authorize bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of the serial bonds authorized by this bond resolution and the renewal of such bond anticipation notes, and the power to prescribe the terms, form, and contents of such serial bonds and such bond anticipation notes authorized by this bond resolution, and the power to issue, sell, and deliver such serial bonds and such bond anticipation notes, including renewal notes, are hereby delegated to the town supervisor as the chief fiscal officer of the town. The town supervisor is hereby authorized to execute on behalf of the town all serial bonds issued pursuant to this bond resolution and all bond anticipation notes, including renewal notes issued in anticipation of the issuance of such serial bonds. And the town clerk is hereby authorized to affix the seal of the town to all such serial bonds and all such bond anticipation notes, and to attest such seal. Each interest coupon, if any, representing interest payable on such serial bonds shall be authenticated by the facsimile signature of the town supervisor. Such serial bonds, if, as, and when issued, may be authenticated by the countersignature of a fiscal agent of the town or by the appropriate designated officer of the town pursuant to Section 70 of the local finance law as amended. Section 6. The faith and credit of the town is hereby and shall be irrevocably pledged for the punctual payment of the principal of and interest on all obligations authorized and issued pursuant to this bond resolution, as the same shall become due.
It's like a short story.
Section 7. When this bond resolution takes effect, the town clerk shall cause the same to be published together with a notice in substantially the form prescribed by Section 81 of the local finance law in the Plattsburgh Press Republican, a newspaper having a general circulation in the town. The validity of the serial bonds authorized by this bond resolution and of bond anticipation notes issued in anticipation of the sale of such serial bonds may be contested only if such obligations are authorized for an object or purpose for which the town is not authorized to expend money, or the provisions of law which should be compiled with as of the date of this publication of this bond resolution are not substantially complied with, and an action, suit, or proceeding contesting such validity is commenced within 20 days after the date of such publication, or if such obligations are authorized in violation of the provisions of the Constitution of the state. Section 8. Prior to the issuance of obligations authorized to be issued by this bond resolution, the town board of the town shall comply with all applicable provisions prescribed in Article 8 of the Environmental Conservation Law, all regulations promulgated thereunder by the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, and all applicable federal laws and regulations in connection with environmental quality review relating to the project, collectively the environmental compliance proceedings. In the event that any of the environmental compliance proceedings are not completed or require amendment or modification subsequent to the date of adoption of this bond resolution, the town board of the town will re-adopt, amend, or modify this bond resolution prior to the issuance of obligations authorized to be issued herein upon the advice of bond counsel. It is hereby determined by the town board of the town that the project will not have a significant effect on the environment. Section 9. For the benefit of the holders and beneficial owners from time to time of the bonds and bond anticipation notes authorized pursuant to this bond resolution, the town agrees in accordance with and as an obligated person with respect to the obligations under Rule 15C2-12 promulgated by the Securities and Exchange Commission pursuant to the Securities Exchange Act of 1934, the rule to provide or cause to be provided such financial information and operating data, financial statements and notices in such manner as may be required for purposes of the rule, in order to describe and specify certain terms of the town's continuing disclosure agreement for that purpose, and thereby to implement that agreement, including provisions for enforcement, amendment, and termination. The town supervisor is authorized and directed to sign and deliver in the name and on behalf of the town the commitment authorized by subsection 6C of the rule to be placed on file with the town clerk, which shall constitute the continuing disclosure agreement made by the town for the benefit of holders and beneficial owners of the obligations in accordance with the rule, with any changes or amendments that are not inconsistent with this bond resolution and not substantially adverse to the town, and that are approved by the town supervisor on behalf of the town, all of which shall be conclusively evidenced by the signing of the commitment or amendments thereto. The agreements formed collectively by this paragraph and the commitment shall be the town's continuing disclosure agreement for purposes of the rule, and its performance shall be subject to the availability of funds and their annual appropriation to meet costs the town would be required to incur to perform thereunder. The town supervisor is further authorized and directed to establish procedures in order to ensure compliance by the town with its continuing disclosure agreement, including the timely provision of information and notices. Prior to making any filing in accordance with the agreement or providing notice of the occurrence of any material event, the town supervisor shall consult with, as appropriate, the town attorney and bond counsel or other qualified independent special counsel to the town. Town supervisor, acting in the name and behalf of the town, shall be entitled to rely on any legal advice provided by the town attorney or such bond counsel or other qualified independent special counsel in determining whether a filing should be made. Section 9. The town hereby declares its intention to issue the obligations authorized herein to finance costs of the project. The town covenants for the benefit of the holders of the obligations authorized herein that it will not make any use of the proceeds of such obligations, any funds reasonably expected to be used to pay the principal of or interest on such obligations or any other funds of the town, and will not make any use of any of the equipment financed with the proceeds of such obligations, which would cause the interest on such obligations to become subject to the federal income taxation under the Internal Revenue Code of 1986, as amended, except for the alternative minimum tax imposed on corporations by sections 55 of the code, or subject the town to any penalties under section 148 of the code, and that it will not take any action or omit to take any action with respect to such obligations. the proceeds thereof of any of the vehicles financed, thereby if such action or omission would cause the interest on such obligations to become subject to federal income taxation under the code, or subject the town to any penalties under section 148 of the code. The foregoing covenants shall remain in full force and effect, notwithstanding the defeasance of the bonds and any other provisions hereof, until the date, which is 60 days after the final maturity date or earlier prior redemption date thereof. The proceeds of any obligations authorized herein may be applied to reimburse expenditures or commitments of the town made for such purposes on or after a date which is not more than 1 year prior to the date of adoption of this bond resolution by the town. Section 10. This bond resolution will take effect immediately upon its adoption by the town board of the town, and be it further resolved, a copy of this resolution be given to the finance manager.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion.
I think we should take our time, since it's such a long
Is there a second?
second.
Wood. Any discussion? The only thing I would add is I think I saw a smile kind of creep on Ricky's face when you were reading that.
You know when to bring her in, I see.
I actually have a serious comment.
Yes.
There's section 1, 2, and then it jumps to section 4,
Yep.
and there are 2 section 9s. So maybe we're missing a section 3 and section,
Yeah, I know what you're saying, Meg. I don't know how that,
Might have been the way that it got photocopied.
can't be.
So,
If it's the way that it got photocopied, then we may not be in the right order.
Number 3 is
In both of the other three, the same things is the case.
Okay.
It's skip
So
section
it's either
3.
intentional or an accident, and we should find out.
yeah, it was.
When we go through this again. Okay.
Yeah, I think it was the. Yeah, it wasn't the photocopy.
It could just be the
and those sections
numbers.
should just apply to this particular, is
Yeah.
that what you're saying, Meg? They're out of order because these are the only sections that apply to.
If it's intentional,
Yeah,
yeah.
I agree.
Okay, I'll get the confirmation for it.
The others are all the same too.
Yeah,
Right.
You're right.
yeah. I'll get the
Probably the
confirmation for it.
typist.
All right.
Do you know what that pro tanto is?
I don't know the Latin version for pro tanto.
Okay.
In direct relation, I believe,
Okay.
or evidence of,
What is it?
in direct relation or evidence of belief.
Well, I just wondered if we, it says we have a maximum maturity, and if we, the period of probable use in this project is 30 years. Okay, it says in here, these will reduce the amount of serial bonds authorized herein pro tanto if we use grants or things. So I'm assuming that's right away, at this time. Not like, okay, we
Well,
should.
our constant goal has been to seek opportunities to reduce the overall price of this project. So,
Right.
I mean, we've got a conversation with EFC tomorrow. We've been talking with Rural Water, the Northern Border, Regional Commission Council. I always screw up the C1. So, yeah, there's a number of things.
Well, it just, if we're gonna reduce it, and we do get a grant afterwards and we put it on it, I would assume that this means that it would reduce the amount of principal and we wouldn't have to.
It will reduce the amount of bond we go for.
Yeah, the bond.
Yeah, bond, I'm sorry.
Okay, pro tanto, Latin literally for so much.
Perfect.
Or as much as one is able
To an extent,
You're like
to
a very own
that
series.
extent.
Why everybody's, how come, no, wait a minute, these two back here should be doing that.
All right. I
To such an extent, we would say.
want to state on task, is there any other further conversation on this item? Seeing none, I'm going to take a roll call on this.
That's good.
Okay.
Okay?
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Meg LaFave,
Yes, under the condition that we get these numbers
Yep.
straightened out.
Barbara Hebert,
Yes, and concur with Meg.
Okay.
Charles Costick,
Yes, and I concur also.
Michael Cashman.
Yes.
I don't concur, I just started.
Okay. All right.
I move that we waive the reading of
Hasn't been ready.
I haven't even
Not
read
yet.
it.
just want to be on top.
Resolution 144, bond resolution dated May 17, 2018, authorizing the issuance of $4,780,000 aggregate principal amount series bonds of the town of Plattsburgh, New York pursuant to the local finance law to finance the cost of improvements and/or the cost of to reconstruct existing facilities or aperturements for the benefit of the consolidated sewer district in the town of Plattsburgh, Clinton County, New York. What was that, Tom?
I'd like to move to waive the reading of this with the stipulation that the numbers, sections be checked again as was on the last one.
Are you waiving the reading and asking to go straight to a vote?
Yes, that's what I'm asking.
I'll second.
The 10 seconds is enough.
Okay, thank you.
Would you like to hear it again? It's the same thing.
Okay. Knowing that there is a difference in price as it's associated to this particular topic matter, okay? Meg, you said you would like to second that?
Yes.
Okay. Any further discussion other than what was presented? Seeing none, can I get a roll call, please?
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Meg LaFave,
Yes.
Barbara Hebert,
Yes.
Charles Costick,
Yes.
Michael Cashman.
Yes, resolution does carry. Resolution 145, bond resolution dated May 17, 2018, authorizing the issuance of $13,194,899 aggregate principal to the amount of the serial bonds of the town of Plattsburgh, New York, pursuant to the local finance law to finance the cost of the improvements and/or the cost to reconstruct the existing facilities and aperturements for the benefit of the consolidated water district in the town of Plattsburgh, Clinton County, New York.
I'd like to mention that I'm asking for the waiving of the reading, understanding that each of these is a different district and has a different amount of money associated with it.
Are you seeking the waiving of the?
I was seeking the reading of this and I go right directly to vote.
I'll second that.
Okay. Wood and Hebert. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, can I get a roll call, please?
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Meg LaFave,
Yes.
Barbara Hebert,
Yes.
Charles Costick, and
Yes.
Michael Cashman.
Yes, resolution does carry. Resolution 146, bond resolution dated May 17, 2018, authorizing the issuance of $4,567,944 aggregate principal to the amount serial bonds of the town of Plattsburgh, New York, pursuant to the local finance law to finance the cost of the improvements and/or to the cost to reconstruct existing facilities and aperturements to the benefit of the base water district in the town of Plattsburgh, Clinton County, New York.
I make a motion to waive the remainder of the reading of the resolution below the header and move straight to a vote.
With the stipulation that we change the numbers of the
Yes, that's
sections
correct,
needed.
Mr. Wood.
Hebert, is there a second?
Second.
Wood. Any further discussion? Seeing none. Can I get a roll call vote, please?
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Meg LaFave,
Yes.
Barbara Hebert,
Yes.
Charles Costick,
Yes.
Michael Cashman.
Enthusiastically.
We were underway now.
Yes. All right. Thank you very much for your patience and attention to that, and thank you for reading that very lengthy resolution. So, Resolution 147, request to attend the PERMA conference.
Whereas the town of Plattsburgh accounting employee Nikki Martin is required to maintain professional training and development in administering the paperwork for the town workers' compensation needs. And whereas it is in the best interest of the town to update knowledge, new regulations, and insurance information regarding workers' compensation and employee workplace health and safety through the Public Employer Risk Management Association, PERMA. And whereas the town is a longstanding member of PERMA, the conference will have no lodging or meal charges to attend. Now therefore be it resolved that Nikki Martin be allowed to attend the PERMA conference held on May 24th and 25th, 2018 in Bolton Landing, New York. And it is further resolved that a copy of this resolution be given to the finance manager and a copy be placed in Ms. Martin's personnel file.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Costick, is there a second?
Sorry.
Wood, any discussion?
I had a quick conversation with Nikki this morning, so she's looking forward to this conference, and there's going to be some interesting updates at this conference. So.
Yes. Anything further? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
So does carry. Resolution 148, temporary seasonal hire for recreation assistant in the Recreation Department.
Whereas the supervisor has received a letter dated May 3rd, 2018 from Melanie Defiant, Youth Services and Recreation Director, requesting to hire a recreation assistant position, and whereas Logan Williams, for $15 an hour, be appointed to said position when all employment verification and eligibility provisions have been satisfied. Now therefore be it resolved that the supervisor is authorized to sign all necessary documents to hire seasonal temporary help in the Parks and Recreation Department, and a certified copy of this resolution be given to the Finance Manager, Youth Director, Cool Insurance, and the Clinton County Civil Service Department of Personnel for their final approval, and filing a copy placed in his personnel file.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Lefebvre, is there a second?
Second.
Caustic, is there any discussion? I would just like to add that this is something that we talked about last year in the budget process. This is not something that we've had in a while, but I think that there'll be some great benefit to the recreation program. One of the things that they did this year recently was launching that new online system. So our recreation programs continue to do new and different things, and I think this approach will not only serve the residents well, but also help manage some of the activities.
Now, there's a new one, futsal or something? Futsal? Futsal, okay.
All right. Seeing nothing further, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 So does carry. Resolution 149, staff agreement for temporary position in the Codes and Zoning Department.
Whereas there is a planned need for a temporary position in the town of Plattsburgh Codes and Zoning Department, and whereas ETS Staffing Firm with offices located at 186 US Oval, Plattsburgh, New York, 12903, has the expertise to contract with the town for temporary services needed in the Codes and Zoning Department. Therefore be it and resolved that the supervisor is authorized to sign all necessary documents to contract with ETS for services to hire temporary help in the Codes and Zoning Department, and a certified copy of this resolution be given to the Finance Manager, Codes and Zoning Department Head, and Zoning Department Head.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Hebert, is there a second?
Second.
Caustic, any discussion? I would just add that this is a planned need for temporary, and, yeah.
We were looking for a longer term permanent, so.
It could be shortened based upon when the full-time employee is able to come back, so, okay. All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
So does carry. Resolution 150, update Water Advisory Committee.
Whereas existing water and wastewater infrastructure, which includes approximately 130 miles of water mains, 15 pump stations, and 9 tanks, is in need of both immediate and longer-term repairs in order to sustain the continued delivery of drinking water to the nearly 4,150 town residents. Those employees at businesses in the town and visitors to the region all rely on us for its water. And whereas the town board recognizes the need for a short and a long-term capital plan for the water and wastewater assets and infrastructure, and believes an advisory committee composed of knowledgeable citizens would be helpful in assisting the town board in determining appropriate water rates, addressing existing and future concerns affecting the town's water supply, and educating ratepayers of the necessary and vital infrastructure requirements. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Plattsburgh hereby establishes a water advisory committee, such members being nominated, qualified, and appointed by the town board. And be it further resolved, membership shall include the town's director of water and wastewater, a licensed New York State professional engineer qualified in public water systems and infrastructure needs, town's finance manager, Clinton County public health professional, 2 residents, a council person, 2 representative employees of a commercial industrial business, a member from Clinton County OME, and staff liaison to Clinton County government. And be it further resolved, after the expiration of the initial terms, all terms shall be for 2 years, with reappointments and/or new member appointments to be at the discretion of the town board. And be it further resolved, the committee is charged with preparing reports to assist the town board in 1, determining appropriate water rates, 2, addressing existing and future concerns affecting the town's water supply, 3, educating ratepayers of necessary and vital infrastructure requirements, and 4, helping to provide for a safe and sustainable water supply and delivery infrastructure for the future.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Caustic. Is there a second?
Second.
Lefebvre. I just want to add a little bit of context to this. We do have a water advisory committee. I told you when I proposed this originally that I was hoping that, in about a year that we would have some conversations and possibly add some new roles, especially with some of the conversations that we're having with the county, with the airport committee, with the airport, and a number of other things. Clinton County Office of Emergency Management, I think, is a great opportunity to better network some of the things with fire, and I'll let Chuck talk in a moment. But then also a staff liaison with Clinton County government. There may be some opportunities for future funding opportunities in collaboration with grants. So having that network there, I think, is critical. And as a regional water supplier, I think there are also some good opportunities to network there. This document could still be dynamic in the future, and at this point, I just open it for discussion. You wanna-
We had discussed at the work session last week, the potential of adding in one of the fire chiefs from the town also. I think that, along with the Office of Emergency Services, will give us, good insight from the fire suppression side.
If there's no, would you like to make a friendly amendment to this? and add that?
I would like to amend that, yes.
Okay, so a fire chief from, one of the fire
From one of
chiefs,
the fire chiefs from the
town districts. Okay,
I apologize, I think that was in the notes that I failed to pass on to Cashman from last week's meeting.
No big deal.
okay. Thank you for sharing last week, by the way. Meg, do you agree with that
Yeah.
friendly amendment? Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none? We'll have some names shortly. I mean, some of the people are obviously returning, but a couple of these positions, I wouldn't say directly by, position alone, but, there's only so many people in Office of Emergency Management, for example, so, okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
So does Gary. 151, request to attend the annual highway educational conference.
Whereas it is in the best interest of the town highway superintendent to remain current and informed concerning changes and regulations, therefore be it resolved that Tim Dubray, highway superintendent, be allowed to attend the New York State Association of Town Superintendent of Highways Annual Highway School, being held in Ithaca, New York, June 3rd through the 6th, 2018. And it is further resolved that $628.58 for conference fees, lodging, and meals be charged to the highway superintendent account as noted. And be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be given to the finance manager and a copy placed in the highway superintendent personnel file.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Wood. Is there a second?
Second.
Hebert. Any discussion?
Yeah, I noticed that on the Monday, after the morning session before the afternoon, they have a pothole picnic. It should be real interesting when they go out and pothole picnic.
Anything further? Seeing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
So does Gary. Resolution 152, amend Resolution 18114 to request to attend the annual 2018 New York's Rural Water Association's annual technical conference.
Whereas Resolution 18-114 was passed to have Scott Stoddard and Paul Wright attend the 2018 AWWA Annual Technical Training Workshop and needs to be amended, therefore be it resolved to amend the previous resolution to have Scott Stoddard and David Lupi of the Water and Wastewater Department be allowed to attend the 2018 Annual Technical Training Workshop in exhibition held from May 21st to May 23rd, 2018 in Verona, New York, and it is further resolved that copies of this resolution be given to the finance manager and water wastewater director and one put in the personnel file of Dave Luby.
Is there a motion?
So
Wolfave and Costick. I just want to give you a little bit of the justification. Paul Wright unfortunately has something that requires that he stay in town, and that we have the opportunity to easily slide somebody into this position, and has an opportunity to get some continuing education, credits, etc. So there's
that David needs.
yeah, there's benefits to it. It's not like, well, we have this spot, we're just going to put somebody out there.
Okay.
It meets need too. So, and I was appreciative that Paul stepped up early on and said, can we make the adjustment? So,
Okay.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
So does carry. At this point, I would consider a motion to go into executive session for the following items. To discuss pending litigation between the town and city of Plattsburgh, the certiorari, in regards to the certiorari with GBR between the town and GBR, and the work history of several employees. Is there someone willing to make that motion?
So moved.
I'm going to say Costa got that, and then Hebert. Can I get a roll call, please?
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Meg LeFave,
Yes.
Barbara Hebert,
Yes.
Charles Costick,
Yes.
Michael Cashman.
Yes, the time we will go in is at 6:35, no action to be taken. Thank you very much, folks.